Hi guys, Al Smith here. Welcome to another mini lesson in the building blocks series. Today we're going to talk about mind games that you can use on your opponents. Okay, this is a favorite part of my game. I love to screw around with my opponent's brains. Modern bridge is becoming more and more of a contact sport. Now, as we learn more, as we get better and better conventions and learn more on how the cards fit together, we can actually get more and more aggressive. And we're learning about different dimensions of the game all the time. So now, a lot of people, like during the American Revolution, think that their opponents should wear red coats and march slowly in a straight line. Well, that's not me. That's really not the game of bridge either. Our goal in the game of bridge is to get the maximum number of points possible, and that we're allowed to use deceptive techniques as part of the game. There are three basic techniques. All of them are legal to screw around with your opponent's brains. Okay, now, and don't think of it as something unethical or anything, because you do it in every game you play. In poker, you bluff. All right, now in poker, you're allowed to make faces and do all sorts of, contort your face, do anything you want. In bridge, you're not. But you can use the bidding and the cards you play and so forth in a manner to in essence, screw around with your opponents, get them to do something that you want them to do, or convince them you've got something that you don't have. There's three basic techniques. One's called obstruction, and we'll talk a little bit about that. I'm going to define terms basically and show you the general category of each one of these. And then misdirection, and the last one is just out and out lying. Okay, some of you might say, well, all of them are lying. Well, no, they're not. They're kind of we've got to kind of slice the hair into three different little categories. Okay, obstruction. Obstruction is very common. It's been around for 100 years. Okay, and the definition is that we're intentionally making a bid that's eating up the bidding space to make things difficult for our opponents. And the biggest example of obstruction is the preempt. Okay, if you preempt three spades, then the opponent can no longer make a bid at the 1, 2, or the 3 level. They want to bid something, and you're going to have to bid 3 no trump or a new suit at the 4th level, which makes it really, really hard for them. This is obstruction. This is one type of obstruction, but it's the most common. And it's trying to make things difficult for the opponents. Another example is the opponent on your right opens 1 diamond, and you've got 5 clubs and 10 points, so you bid 2 clubs. What have you just done? You made it impossible for the opponent on your left hand to be able to bid 1 heart or 1 spade. What's that mean? Well, unless they've got 10 plus points and they've got 5 plus hearts or spades, they're not going to be able to bid hearts or spades. And you just made things a lot more difficult for them. Obstruction is a great technique. Okay, I like to maximize it and use it as often as possible. The second type is misdirection. And this is kind of a bid that's made to intentionally deceive or mislead the opponents into thinking that you have something you don't. Okay, and I'm going to talk about it. It really is most common in 3rd and 4th seat after your partner is passed. And why is that important? Well, if your partner is passed, like we discussed before, you know they don't have enough points to open, or they didn't have enough points to overcall, or they didn't have a long enough suit to do a weak 2 preempt, or any of the other things. So their pass says, hey, I'm kind of broke in most situations. Okay, so if your partner is passed and you're in 4th seat, you can actually get in there and be more aggressive. You've got freedom to do things you wouldn't be able to do in 1st or 2nd seat. So let's take this example here. The opponent on your left opens 1 club, your partner passes, and then the opponent on your right bids 1 spade. Now, you could actually double in this situation. Okay, now normally this would be taken as a negative double, and it would say, hey, partner, I've got 4 plus hearts and 4 plus diamonds and probably 8 plus points. But in reality, because it's 4 seats, you may have this, but you may not. You might actually have nothing. Okay. And if you have nothing or the weak hand or so forth, and you don't have what the bid really generally indicates, there's really no harm. Your partner may be bid again. You're going to pass, and 99% of the time, the opponents are going to continue to bid. But what have you done? You have, in essence, told the opponents that you have something that you don't have. For example, they're going to expect you to have 8 plus points. Well, you might only have 1. You might have 0. You might have 4. Okay. But if by making that bid, you deceive them, okay, into thinking that you have them, but in reality, your partner's going to have them. Now, when they play the hand, they're going to play you for having those points or honors in those suits that they think that you've got honors in. Okay, if your partner has them, they're going to screw up their line of play, and you guys are actually going to get a better result. So that's an example of where you how to use deception. There's lots of other techniques here too. I mean, there's deception in the play of the cards when you give a count signal, and the declarer expects you to be honest, and you lie. You say, I've got an odd number when you have an even number. Or you ask for the lead of a suit that you don't want led in terms of a first discard, try to deceive the opponent into thinking that you have an honor in that suit when your partner has it. So there's lots of different ways to use misdirection, or what I call deception also. The third category is lying. And we typically define lying as psych bids. A psych bid is a gross misrepresentation of the length of a suit or the points in the hand. I'll give you an example. Your right-hand opponent opens 1 spade. Okay, you're sitting there, you got 6 spades, you've got a bunch of points, and you go, hey, what's going on? Well, you've got one of two situations that your opponent has either psyched by bidding spades when they don't really have 5 of them, or there is a really wild distribution in the hand. Now, when you see that, your ears should perk up and say, this could be a potential psych. Now, you're going to probably pass in each one of those situations, okay? But you're going to probably get another opportunity to bid. Okay, and by listening, you can determine whether that person is psyched or not. This happened to me in a tournament. The person on my right opened 1 spade. I had 6 spades, about 15 points. Turned out that the opponent didn't have any spades and didn't have any points. They were just trying to make things difficult for us. Okay, now we succeeded in detecting it was a psych, and ultimately we ended up sending them a whole bunch because they went down the wrong path. And generally, psych bids don't work out very well for the psycher. Every once in a while they do. The only time that I'm prone to use a psych at all is if I'm playing in a tournament, I'm behind and I need a really good score, and that's the only way I'm going to get it. So, but psych bids are pretty well universally hated by most beginning players. And the reason is they just don't know what to do with them. Okay. Psych bids, like I said, are pretty much disastrous a lot of times for the people that are making the psych bid. Okay. Now, since they are a part of the game, just like bluffing is part of the game of poker, the secret is learning how to detect them and then to punish the opponents for making them. But that's a story for another day. That gets into some more deeper issues and more complex things. But I want you to know that it's okay to both obstruct your opponent, deceive your opponent, use misdirection, and to lie to the opponents. Okay, that's all part of the game. So I wanted to thank you for attending this, and you have a great day.